That year of
Oh, that's
1944, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura.
I think that was 94.
Jim Carrey. It's a name that probably brings up lots of different images. You have The Grinch, you have The Truman Show, The Cable Guy, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, maybe even Dr. Robotnik from the 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies. But when most people think about Jim Carrey, they get images of any one of those 3 characters he created in 1994. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask, and Lloyd in Dumb and Dumber. It still amazes me to this day that these 3 huge, influential, iconic comedies from Jim Carrey all came out in the same calendar year.
You love me! You really love me!
How did this happen? How did lightning strike 3 times for Jim Carrey over the course of a single year?
I came to confess. I was the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender, and today we're talking about one of my favorites, Jim Carrey. We are digging into how the superstar Jim Carrey got launched in 1994. How these 3 huge movies really put him on the map. What was it about these movies that really worked for audiences, and what kind of lasting impact do these 3 comedies have today? In 1993, I don't know if Jim Carrey was a household name yet. He was somebody many people knew of because of In Living Color, which aired on Fox for many years in the early 90s. He was the token white guy on In Living Color and was definitely a standout in that cast. That was my introduction to Jim Carrey. My dad saying, "Brian, you have to watch this guy who plays a character named Fire Marshal Bill."
Boy, this hospital is an accident waiting to happen. Let me say it again!
Oh my frickin' god, Fire Marshal Bill on In Living Color, it's one of the funniest characters I've ever seen in film or TV. I was like, who is this guy, and where can I see more of him?
Drinking on the deck of a cruise ship can be fun, but it can also be very, very deadly.
I checked out some of his work in the 80s, like he's in a few movies in the 80s, like Once Bitten became a childhood favorite of mine. He's very funny in that. He's also in Earth Girls Are Easy from 1989, starring Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis and Damon Wayans. Like he's a part of different things throughout the 80s and early 90s, but In Living Color, I would say, really put him on the map.
Take care of that for me, will you, son?
And as that show was winding down, Jim Carrey realized, okay, this is my shot at movie stardom.
There really is a crucial moment, especially when somebody comes out of a TV show, like In Living Color, where they get their shot, you know? And I didn't know that Ace Ventura was going to be my shot.
That could have ended things before they even got started, right? Because Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Jim Carrey worked on that script for many months. Apparently, the early versions of that script were terrible. And so Carrey, for a while, wasn't even sure if he was going to star in the movie. Maybe he would just work on the script and then move on to other opportunities. But he worked on it long enough. Like, he worked on the character to the point where he said, I have to make this movie.
Hey, maybe I'll give you a call sometime. Your number's still 911? Oh, righty then.
I think this could be really funny. I know the approach to this character that's going to work. He wasn't going to play that role straight, you know, just like a little bit silly. He had to go big with Ace Ventura to really stand out from the crowd, I'd say.
Asshole mio, oh, sada mia.
And so in the summer of 1993, he signs up to star in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective for about $350,000, you know, a pretty good sum of money, I guess, for like your first big movie role or something. But it wasn't millions of dollars. And at the time, there wasn't much being written about Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. It was being shot kind of like on the sly. Like nobody was really paying attention to a new movie being shot with Jim Carrey.
I need to use the bathroom. I think it's the pate.
With Ace Ventura: Pet Detective releasing to theaters in early February of 1994, there couldn't have been much anticipation, right? February is kind of a dead zone for movies. It was in the 90s. It still kind of is today. Obviously, there was a lot riding on Jim Carrey's entire career with the opening weekend of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. He was nervous. He was very nervous, especially after the initial reviews came out for this film.
Holy Testicle Tuesday!
Pretty much every major film critic in the country destroyed Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, said it was terrible, not funny, not worth your time. The Los Angeles Daily News said, "Don't think of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective as a movie. Think of it more as a Jim Carrey endurance test, and you'll be better prepared."
I'm looking for Ray Finkel. And a clean pair of shorts.
Siskel and Ebert famously on their show hated the film. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star out of 4. In his written review, he said, "The movie basically has one joke, which is Ace Ventura's weird, nerdy strangeness. I found the movie a long, unfunny slog through an impenetrable plot." So on opening night, Jim Carrey was nervous. This was make it or break it. But once Jim Carrey watched this film, like at the premiere with its audience, like he knew. I think he knew deep down Ace Ventura: Pet Detective was going to work.
I remember sitting in a theater in Westwood during the premiere, and when the lights went off and the people applauded, and it was an energy that you didn't normally see at a premiere. And
You knew at that moment
it was
real.
Oh, it was real. It was real, and I felt it, and I got a chill, and I said to myself, new life.
I still remember all these years later, just like vibrating in the theater, watching Ace Ventura opening weekend with my dad and a couple friends. I was 9 years old when this movie came out. I was the perfect age for Jim Carrey, right? For this movie, oh yeah.
Thank you for all your cooperation. By the way, do you have a mint?
So like, this was a phenomenon. This wasn't just like a successful comedy, people liked it for a week or two, and then it just quietly went away. This film launched a superstar right from that first movie. I think if Ace Ventura: Pet Detective had been Jim Carrey's only film in 1994, he still would have had an amazing year. But what really made him a superstar, I think, was the perfect timing of having 2 more big comedies released later the same year. Usually when somebody has like their first big movie, then it's going to take another year and a half, 2 years to develop their next project, right? They might not be in a film for 2 more years. That wasn't the case for Carrey. He already had a film in the can, The Mask, and he was shooting Dumb and Dumber, so there was clearly some investment in Jim Carrey. It's not like, well, let's see how Ace Ventura does. If it's a hit, maybe he'll make another movie for 1995 or something.
The who, the her.
Like, he was already well on his way. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective being as giant of a hit as it was, like it cost about $15 million to make, and it made over $100 million worldwide. Like, for like a small comedy released to theaters in February to make more than $100 million in 1994, that was huge.
Do not go in there. Woo!
And it not only launched Jim Carrey into immediate superstardom, I would say, but it really did help his next 2 movies get off the ground and get seen by everybody. The Mask was up next, released to theaters at the end of July 1994, and this film shot before Ace Ventura, obviously, like in the summer, fall-ish of 1993. So Jim Carrey wasn't paid a whole lot more for this than for Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. He made about $450,000 for The Mask.
Hold me closer, Ed. It's getting dark.
I don't think there was anything about Ace Ventura that got Jim Carrey cast in The Mask. It was more about like his roles on In Living Color. Director Chuck Russell had been following Carrey's career for a few years. And it's interesting, like The Mask is a pretty big studio comedy, right? And it's like, really? They signed off on Carrey? Without Ace Ventura: Pet Detective being a hit yet, not even in theaters yet.
Now you have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
but boy, did they make the right choice. Like, Jim Carrey couldn't have been a better choice to play this role of Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask.
Okay.
And just based on the trailer, it looked like the perfect match of actor to character to property rights. Jim Carrey in a comic book movie? Hell yes.
That's a spicy meatball!
And what was so great about The Mask is that it was clearly a better film than Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, a better screenplay, a better romance at the center of it. And not only did audiences fully embrace The Mask when it finally opened at the end of the summer 1994, but the critics loved it too.
Somebody stop me!
Like so many of the critics who had put Carrey down for Ace Ventura: Pet Detective were now lifting him up.
We didn't like Ace Ventura, and so
Right.
you probably walked into this movie with a kind of a negative attitude, and maybe
No, I
did
don't.
too.
As a matter of
But
fact, I don't.
I feel that Jim Carrey is extremely important to the success of this movie, and that somebody else in that character might not have done as good a job.
One critic said, unlike Ace Ventura, The Mask is more than a display case built around Carrey's performance. Writer Mike Webb and director Charles Russell support their star with a script that is both witty and heartwarming, a solid supporting cast, stylish production design, and wham-pow special effects.
Look, Ma! I'm roadkill! Ha ha ha!
And unlike Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, which in the weeks leading up to its release, there wasn't like too much anticipation, everybody was anticipating The Mask big time. One journalist said, if the pressure of his salary was not enough burden, Mr. Carrey is faced now with the pressure caused by a serious buzz around the movie industry that The Mask could be one of the summer's biggest hits. And what a huge, like massive hit The Mask was. It cost only about $25 million to produce. It made about $120 million in the United States and more than $350 million worldwide. So yeah, with that 1-2 punch of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and The Mask, like, he was set. Jim Carrey was a giant star.
So you're feeling a lot of pressure now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, man.
No, you're not going to crack or anything, are you?
No.
He could have like gone away for a year and a half, and still been very popular, I would say. But by the end of the year, we would get a third film, a third Jim Carrey comedy, and this is one of the most beloved comedies of all time, Dumb and Dumber, released at the end of December 1994. And luckily for Jim Carrey, he didn't close the deal to appear in Dumb and Dumber until after Ace Ventura had opened big.
Traded the van for it, straight up. I can get 70 miles to the gallon on this hog.
Like, he wasn't just going to make like another $350,000 for Dumb and Dumber. He would make about $7 million. I remember right before Dumb and Dumber came out, my family and I, we went to Lake Tahoe for a vacation, and I saw Dumb and Dumber at one of those like really like rickety old theaters that Tahoe used to have in the 90s. You know, not the best screen, the best surround sound. But you know what? I was more excited for the third 1994 Jim Carrey movie than I was for Christmas.
Name's Christmas. Lloyd Christmas.
And I was crying, laughing. My dad had to like, you know, tell me, Brian, calm down. Like, calm down.
We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Dumb and Dumber was another huge smash at the box office. It didn't do quite as well as The Mask.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?
But it still made $127 million domestically, $120 million internationally, for a worldwide total of about $250 million. And this is still the same year. We're still in the same calendar year, 1994. 3 giant hits for the same person. I mean, talk about being embraced by audiences worldwide, right? Nobody was turning on Jim Carrey by the end of 94. It's not like we were sick of him yet or anything. Like, nobody was sick of Jim Carrey. We just wanted more.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
I would say the first time audiences turned against Carrey would be The Cable Guy, 1996. That was a different kind of comedy, a much darker comedy. He had been paid $20 million for that movie. There was a little bit of like, okay, is he already past his prime? But then he came back the next year with Liar Liar, and then he's in The Truman Show, and Jim Carrey had a really good run there, I would say, for a good 15 years. But there was nothing like 1994.
Who's had a run like that? I mean, just the first one's like Ace Ventura, then, was it Mask? Unreal. And then even Dumb and Dumber in a row.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. I don't know about you, but to this day, these 3 films mean so much to me. They were such a significant part of my childhood, especially Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. They didn't all do well with critics. You know, not everybody loves all 3 movies, but if you were a Jim Carrey fan around that time, this was the year for you. And during that time, 1994, Jim Carrey was lining up his next projects. Like by the middle of the year, he was signing on to be the Riddler in Batman Forever. And by the end of 1994, he was being paid $10 million to reprise his role of Ace Ventura in Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. Early the following year, he got a Golden Globe nomination for his performance in The Mask, and he was just well on his way. It's crazy how fast it all happened. In the summer of 1993, he's shooting Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, he's preparing The Mask, and he's not sure. Jim Carrey's like, is this going to be the beginning of the end for me? No. Jim Carrey, 1994, what a year for this comic genius. The spectacular launching pad for Jim Carrey as a new and glorious superstar.
I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear.
Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know where you were in 1994, the year of Jim Carrey at the movies. What did those 3 films mean to you today? I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.